The Grand Hall of the Galactic Empire was alive with noise. Hundreds of alien commanders laughed and shouted, raising their crystal cups filled with glowing liquid. The hall's walls shimmered with light, reflecting the pride of a race that believed it ruled the galaxy. Music, chants, and the hum of powerful technology filled the air. Today was a celebration. A new fleet, larger and stronger than any before, had been completed. The commanders boasted about their power, and no one dared to question it. "They were weak, always weak," said Commander Varric, a tall, scaly alien with 4 glowing eyes. "Humans destroyed themselves centuries ago. They are nothing now." "Primitive," added another alien, slamming his cup on the table. "A race that could not survive its own mistakes. We are the future." Most of the commanders laughed loudly, shaking with pride. Only one corner of the hall was quiet. A young alien, smaller and new to the council, leaned closer to his friend and whispered, "Why do we even remember them? They are long gone." He smiled nervously, thinking the question was rhetorical. But an old alien admiral sitting across the room shook his head slowly. His silver scales glimmered under the hall's light. He had seen many wars, many empires rise and fall. His voice was low, almost a whisper, but it carried weight. "Humans don't break, they wait," he muttered. The young alien froze. "What do you mean?" he asked quietly. The admiral did not answer. He just stared at the large map of the galaxy projected in the center of the hall. His eyes, sharp and cautious, focused on the edge of the galaxy, the place where Earth once existed. No one paid attention to him. Most thought he was just an old fool, afraid of nothing. The celebration continued. Music got louder, laughter grew louder, and the commanders boasted about their invincible fleet. Then it happened. A strange signal appeared on the projection map. A small, blinking dot, almost invisible, near the edge of the galaxy. The room went silent for a moment. The music stopped. The alien commanders stared at the glowing dot. "Coordinates? Earth?" one of the younger commanders asked, unsure. "Impossible," another said. "That planet was destroyed centuries ago. Humans are extinct. This is some old signal or a malfunction." The old admiral's eyes narrowed. "It is not a malfunction," he said, his voice stronger now. "It is them. They are coming back." The commanders laughed again, though this time it was uneasy. "Coming back? You mean ghosts? A race that could not survive its own mistakes. You really believe they can return?" The admiral did not answer. He simply stood and walked toward the map, his staff tapping the floor with a steady rhythm. "I have seen humans fight," he said quietly, but every word seemed to echo in the hall. "I have seen their courage, their patience. We may laugh now, but one day they will remind us why we should never underestimate them." One of the younger commanders rolled his eyes. "Old tales. Stories to scare children. The humans are gone. Let us not waste time on myths." But the dot on the map continued to blink. "Faster now." And then a small message appeared in the projection. Strange, simple, and chilling. Words in an ancient human language translated instantly into alien. "We have returned." The hall went completely silent. Commands and laughter stopped. Some aliens stared at the projection in disbelief. Some whispered in fear. The young alien who had asked the question earlier felt his heart pound. "It can't be," he said, barely able to speak. The old admiral did not move. His eyes were fixed on the message. Slowly he turned toward the room and said, "They were patient. And now, the waiting is over." A tense quiet filled the hall. Hundreds of commanders, once proud and confident, now looked uneasy. The music had stopped. Even the glowing lights on the walls seemed duller, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. "Prepare the fleet," one commander shouted finally, trying to regain control. "We will show them the strength of the Empire." "Too late," the admiral whispered. "They will see the weakness in our pride. And this time, they will not forget." Outside the Grand Hall, deep in the edge of the galaxy, human scout ships moved silently through the void. Small, fast, and sleek, they were nothing like the massive fleets the aliens had built. But each ship carried humans who had been training, waiting, and building for centuries. They were stronger, smarter, and more united than anyone in the galaxy could imagine. The first human ship sent a pulse across the galaxy, a warning and a challenge at the same time. It glowed with energy, a signal that all alien fleets could detect. The galaxy laughed at the first sight. The humans were so few, so fragile. "Tiny ships, they cannot be serious," said one alien commander. But as the pulse spread, strange things began to happen. Alien sensors failed. Communication grids flickered. Warships slowed. The pride of the galaxy was already cracking, though no one yet understood why. The old admiral just watched quietly. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The galaxy will learn, humans do not break. They wait." And now the unexpected war begins. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Empire still hummed with uneasy tension. Hundreds of alien commanders, once proud and loud, now whispered among themselves. The blinking dot on the projection map, Earth's old coordinates, seemed to mock them. Most commanders refused to admit it, but fear was creeping in. Their massive fleets, their weapons, their technology, none of it could erase the doubt that had settled in their minds. Commander Varric slammed his claw on the table. "This is nonsense. Humans are extinct. There is nothing at that old planet. It's a trick, a glitch, or some failed colony signal. We cannot waste our time chasing ghosts." But the old admiral, sitting at the far end of the hall, did not argue. His eyes, sharp and gray, never left the map. "It is not a trick," he said quietly, yet his voice carried across the room. "Humans do not forget. They do not die quietly. And they are patient, far more patient than we ever imagined." A younger alien laughed nervously. "Old tales and warnings. I've heard the stories. The humans are weak. They destroyed themselves. Why do you still worry?" The admiral did not answer immediately. Instead, he gestured toward the blinking dot. "You all see that? It is small now, almost harmless. But in time it will grow. And when it does, the galaxy will wish it had listened to me." The council remained unconvinced. Laughter returned, though more forced this time. Plans were made to expand the fleet, to show the humans the Empire's strength. They believed size, firepower, and numbers could crush anything, even a returning human race. Outside the hall, in the dark reaches of the galaxy, the humans were already moving. Small scout ships sped silently through empty space, careful to avoid detection. They were not just ships, they carried centuries of preparation, technology rebuilt, weapons refined, and a determination that the galaxy had long forgotten. On board the lead ship, Commander Ilara looked at the holographic map of the Empire. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with focus. "We move carefully," she told her crew. "We strike where they do not expect. They will not see us coming, not yet." Back in the Grand Hall, the old admiral sighed. "They're coming. And soon we will see what patience can truly do." But even as he spoke, the Empire's leaders continued to mock him. They boasted about the fleet, about their weapons, about how nothing could challenge their dominance. Pride was their greatest weapon, and it would soon become their greatest weakness. Suddenly, a warning signal appeared on the Empire's main screens. The alien commanders froze. A small human scout ship had entered the Empire's outer defense zone. It did not fire. It did not signal. It simply appeared, fast, silent, and precise. "Impossible," said one commander. "A single ship, at this distance?" "It is a human ship," the old admiral said calmly. "And it carries a message." All eyes turned to the projection. The tiny vessel pulsed with energy, sending out a transmission that every fleet in the nearby systems could read. Words appeared in the ancient language of humanity. "We have returned. Prepare yourselves." The hall went quiet. A silence heavier than any warship's cannon filled the room. For a moment, the pride and laughter vanished. The commanders looked at each other nervously, realizing that perhaps the old admiral had been right all along. Varric shook his head. "This is impossible. They are gone. They cannot return." The admiral's voice was cold, steady, and certain. "They waited. That is what humans do. They wait for the right time. And now, the right time is here." Panic began to spread among the younger commanders. Orders were shouted, ships were called into readiness, fleets were deployed. But the old admiral knew it would not be enough. The humans' return was not just about numbers or strength, it was about strategy, patience, and determination. Outside the Empire's territory, the humans split their scout ships into small groups, moving like shadows among the stars. Sensors failed to detect them. Communications failed to reach them. Every step of their plan was precise, calculated, and invisible. On the lead human ship, Commander Ilara smiled faintly. "They are proud. They think they control the galaxy. Let them. Pride blinds them, and it will be their downfall." Back in the Grand Hall, Varric roared orders, calling for full alert. "Prepare the fleet. Destroy the humans before they even reach the inner systems." The admiral shook his head silently, watching the younger commanders scramble. "Too late," he muttered. "They will see the Empire's pride, and they will strike where it hurts most." As the human ships moved closer, the Empire remained confident. They believed they had centuries of power, hundreds of fleets, and a galaxy under control. But pride had blinded them. And the humans never forget and they never truly break. The first strike was coming. The unexpected war was about to begin. The vast fleets of the Galactic Empire were ready. Thousands of warships, each larger than a city, hovered in formation near the edge of the galaxy. The commanders believed victory was already theirs. Pride filled their hearts. They laughed as they looked at the distant blips on their sensors, tiny human scout ships. "They are nothing," said Commander Varric. His 4 glowing eyes scanned the instruments. "A handful of weak ships cannot challenge the Empire. We will crush them before they even reach the inner systems." But the old admiral sat quietly, his staff tapping the floor. "Do not be so sure," he muttered. "They have waited a long time for this day. Patience makes humans dangerous. And now, they are ready." The alien commanders ignored him. Their fleets began advancing, spreading across the void like a living wall of steel and fire. The smaller human ships became visible on the edge of the sensors. Tiny dots against the immensity of the Empire's armada. Then the unexpected happened. A human scout ship, no larger than a command shuttle, fired a single pulse of energy. The beam was narrow, precise, and almost invisible. But when it hit the first alien warship, something impossible occurred. Systems failed. Shields collapsed. Engines stopped working. The massive warship drifted, powerless, as alarms blared and the crew panicked. "Impossible," shouted Varric. "A single small ship? How?" Before he could finish, another pulse struck a second ship. And then a third. The Empire's fleets had been designed to withstand massive bombardments, but they were unprepared for this. The humans' technology was unlike anything they had seen before. Every strike was perfect, precise, and terrifyingly efficient. The hull of the Galactic Empire trembled as reports came in. Entire squadrons of ships were falling, disabled without explosions, without even warning. The commander's laughter had vanished. Panic was spreading like wildfire. The young alien who had once whispered about humans looked on in horror. They are stronger," he said quietly, his voice trembling. "I never thought." The old admiral's eyes narrowed. "This is only the beginning," he said. "Do you see now? Pride blinds those who forget caution. And humans never forget." The humans did not attack blindly. Each ship moved with careful precision, using speed and agility. They struck weak points, avoided the Empire's strongest defenses, and never engaged in unnecessary battles. Every strike sent a clear message: underestimate us and you will fall. On board the lead human ship, Commander Ilara watched the chaos unfold. Her crew worked silently, moving like shadows across the consoles. "Do not be reckless," she said calmly. "We are not here to destroy them yet. We are here to remind them they are not invincible." Back in the Empire's command hall, alarms rang constantly. The commanders shouted orders, trying to regroup, but each attempt failed. Communication lines went down. Strategic systems malfunctioned. The pride of the galaxy, their fleets, their weapons, their arrogance, was crumbling. Varric's eyes blazed with fury. "Bring everything online. Fire everything. Kill them." But it was too late. The humans were already moving faster than the Empire could react. The first wave of alien ships had been neutralized without even a full battle. And the humans showed no mercy for those who blocked their path. The old admiral's voice cut through the chaos. "You were warned," he said quietly. "This is what happens when the galaxy mocks patience and courage. Humans will return, and they will take back what is theirs." Across the galaxy, the first message from the humans' fleet had been clear, simple, and chilling. It pulsed through the Empire's communications. "You laughed. Now you will pay attention." In the Grand Hall, the alien commanders could no longer hide their fear. Their pride had been shattered in minutes. Years of dominance, billions of resources, fleets beyond imagination, all failing against a force they had dismissed as extinct. The young alien swallowed hard. We underestimated them," he whispered. "Yes," the admiral said. "And that is why they have returned stronger than you can imagine." In the darkness of space, the humans advanced further. Their real power was still hidden, their full strength unknown. But the Empire had already learned a lesson they would never forget. Never mock humans. Never underestimate patience. The first day of the unexpected war had ended. But this was only the beginning. The galaxy, once proud and unchallenged, now trembled. And the humans waited for the next strike. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Empire was no longer a place of celebration. Chaos filled the room. Hundreds of alien commanders shouted over one another, their voices clashing like storms. Alarms blared from every corner, flashing red warnings across walls and consoles. The prideful laughter that had once echoed through the hall had vanished, replaced by fear and confusion. Reports came in faster than anyone could handle. Entire fleets were crippled by small human ships. The Empire's massive war machines, once symbols of invincibility, were being disabled without even a proper fight. Systems failed, engines stalled, and shields flickered under strange pulses of energy. Commander Varric slammed his claw on the table, sending holographic projections shaking. How is this possible? Every fleet, every weapon, nothing works. They are only a handful of ships. The young alien who had first questioned the memory of humans watched the chaos in horror. I think the old admiral was right, he said quietly. We underestimated them. We mocked them, and now look at us. The old admiral's face was calm, his silver scales glowing faintly under the emergency lights. Pride blinds every empire, he said softly. Humans have returned not for revenge but to teach a lesson. And lessons are never gentle. Arguments erupted among the commanders. Some demanded surrender. Others wanted to fight harder. We must unleash the superweapons, one shouted. No, attack them with everything, another replied. Chaos had replaced strategy. The once disciplined fleet was now a storm of panic. Outside the hall, in the dark reaches of space, humans continued their silent assault. They did not fire blindly or attack recklessly. Every strike was measured, precise, and devastating. Alien ships that tried to regroup were caught off guard again and again. In minutes, entire divisions were disabled, drifting helplessly in the void. On board the lead human ship, Commander Ilara watched the projections of the Empire's fleet. Her crew moved calmly, working in perfect synchronization. They panic easily, she said to her first officer. Their pride makes them slow, predictable. We strike where they think we cannot. The Empire's communication networks were failing. Strategic plans were disrupted, and misinformation spread like wildfire. Fleet commanders could no longer coordinate their attacks. The panic in the Grand Hall matched the confusion in the fleets themselves. Varric roared in frustration, his glowing eyes blazing with anger. Activate all weapons. Fire at the humans. Do not let them reach the inner systems. But the humans were already several light years closer than the Empire realized. Their speed and strategy made them ghosts in the void. They were small, but every move hit the Empire where it hurt most, targeting command ships, cutting off communication, and disabling engines. The old admiral watched quietly from the corner. This is what happens when the galaxy mocks patience, he said. We were warned and yet, we laughed. Humans do not break. They wait. And now their time has come. A new alert lit up the Grand Hall. Another human signal appeared, larger this time, pulsing through the Empire's systems. The message was simple, direct, and terrifying. Your pride blinds you. The galaxy will remember this day. The hall fell silent for a moment. Hundreds of commanders stared at the projection, realizing the truth they had long refused to see. Their fleets, their technology, their strength, all had been built on arrogance, and arrogance was failing them. The young alien, voice trembling, whispered, We cannot stop them. Yes, the old admiral replied quietly. And that is why humans have returned stronger than any of us imagined. Outside, human scout ships moved like shadows through space. Every fleet that attempted to regroup was met with unexpected obstacles. Energy pulses disrupted navigation systems, and sudden, precise strikes left massive warships drifting uselessly. Alien crews screamed over broken intercoms, unable to understand how such small ships caused such destruction. Panic spread beyond the command hall. Across the galaxy, fleets called for retreat. Leaders argued over what to do next. The once proud empire, confident for centuries, was now on the brink of collapse. In the Grand Hall, Varric's claws shook as he tried to issue orders, but no one obeyed. Communication lines failed. Sensors showed only destruction. And the old admiral's calm eyes observed it all, knowing the humans were not finished yet. Today, he whispered, the galaxy learns the cost of arrogance. Pride is a weapon, but against patience, it becomes a weakness. The humans did not celebrate their victories. They moved carefully, striking only where necessary, teaching the Empire a lesson in strategy and humility. But the message was clear: the galaxy would never again underestimate humanity. And in that moment, as alarms echoed and chaos spread, the unexpected war truly began. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. The once proud fleets of the Galactic Empire were scattered, their massive warships crippled by small, fast human scout ships. Panic had spread across every command center. Chaos reigned, and no one could understand how so few humans could cause such destruction. In the Grand Hall of the Empire, alien commanders shouted over alarms, trying to make sense of their failing fleets. Varric slammed his claws on the table. How is this possible? Our ships, our fleets, all of them. They are falling apart. The old admiral remained calm, watching silently. They are not reckless, he muttered. They are waiting for the right moment. And that moment is coming. Outside the Empire's territory, humans had stopped their initial strikes, but only briefly. In the dark reaches of space, massive structures cloaked in invisibility fields appeared. They were enormous ships, far larger than the scout ships. But they were not just ships, they were weapons of a scale the galaxy had never imagined. Commander Elara stood on the bridge of the lead human ship, looking at the fleet arrayed before her. This is what they've waited for, she said. Her voice was calm, almost cold. The galaxy thinks we are small, weak, primitive. They have no idea what comes next. Then the humans struck again. The massive hidden vessels activated a technology the aliens could not comprehend. Energy pulses spread across space, disabling entire fleets in moments. Shields collapsed instantly. Weapons went silent. Engines shut down mid-flight. Ships that had taken years to build were rendered useless before the aliens could react. Back in the Grand Hall, screams and alarms filled the room. Holoscreens flickered as reports of disabled fleets reached the commanders. Hundreds of ships, thought to be invincible, now drifted powerless in the void. Varric's face twisted in disbelief. No. How can this be possible? These humans, they were extinct. They had nothing. And yet, his voice broke as panic overtook pride. The old admiral did not speak. He simply watched as the pride of the galaxy crumbled before his eyes. Do you see now? He whispered. This is the price of underestimating humans. Their strength is not just in numbers, it is in patience, strategy, and unity. The humans did not attack indiscriminately. Their strikes were precise, targeting command ships, weapons arrays, and critical systems first. Every move sent a message. Never mock humans, never underestimate them, never think they are gone. From the Grand Hall, a smaller commander whispered to his neighbor, trembling. They are everywhere. How can so few do so much? The neighbor shook his head, eyes wide with fear. This is not war. This is a lesson. On board the lead human ship, Elara activated the final phase of their plan. Prepare the final message, she ordered. The crew followed silently, moving with perfect coordination. A pulse of energy spread across the galaxy, visible to every fleet, every command center. Then the message appeared. You laughed at us. You mocked us. Now you will see your pride is worthless. In the Grand Hall, alien commanders froze. The sheer power of the humans' hidden weapon was undeniable. Every fleet that had mocked, ignored, or laughed at humanity now lay at their mercy. The galaxy's greatest powers had been humbled, not through brute force alone, but through strategy, patience, and intelligence. The old admiral finally spoke aloud. They do not seek to destroy us. They seek to teach us humility. And it is a lesson we desperately need. Varric shook his claws, furious and fearful. We cannot let this stand. Strike back. Fire everything. But it was too late. The humans had already disabled the most critical systems of the Empire's fleets. The remaining ships were powerless, drifting as humanity's message of strength echoed across the void. Even the younger aliens realized the truth. We underestimated them, one whispered, voice trembling. We mocked a race that never broke, and now we are paying the price. Elara watched the galaxy respond with fear, but she did not celebrate. The humans' goal was clear. Show strength, demand respect, and remind the galaxy that pride without wisdom is dangerous. Their hidden power had been revealed, but even more remained unseen, waiting for the moment the Empire dared to rise again. The Grand Hall was silent. The Empire's commanders stared at the screens, realizing that the galaxy's pride had been its downfall. Humans had returned stronger than anyone could have imagined. And the warning was clear. The unexpected war was far from over. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Empire was quiet. Silence replaced the chaos that had filled it for days. Hundreds of alien commanders stared at the projection screens, their pride shattered. Their once mighty fleets drifted powerless in space, disabled by humans whose strength no one had expected. Commander Varric sat frozen, his glowing eyes wide with disbelief. We cannot fight back, he muttered. His voice trembled with fear, anger, and shame. They They are stronger than anything we have ever seen. The old admiral stood calmly, his staff tapping slowly against the floor. This is what happens when the galaxy mocks patience, he said softly. Humans never forget. They never break. And they always wait for the right moment. Outside the Grand Hall, human fleets moved silently but confidently. Their presence alone was enough to remind the galaxy of the mistake it had made. They did not fire weapons. They did not destroy planets. Their goal was not revenge, it was respect. Commander Ilara stood on the bridge of the lead ship, looking at the disabled fleets of the Empire. We show them strength, she said calmly, but not cruelty. They must learn a lesson, not suffer needless death. The alien commanders realized, slowly, that they had underestimated humanity. Entire civilizations had laughed at humans, called them weak, primitive, and extinct. And now, the humans had returned stronger, smarter, and more united than any empire could imagine. Varric's claws shook as he tried to issue orders. Mobilize the fleets. Attack them. Do not let them. But it was too late. Human technology had already disabled the Empire's most critical systems. Communication, navigation, and weapons arrays all failed. The Empire's fleets were immobilized, powerless against a force they had ignored for centuries. The old admiral shook his head quietly. This is the moment they should have feared, yet no one listened. Pride was their weapon, and their downfall. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. Systems, colonies, and fleets that once laughed at humans now feared them. The humans had returned not to destroy, but to show the price of arrogance. Every command, every strike, every pause had reminded the galaxy of a single truth. Humans do not break and humans never forget. In the Grand Hall, one young alien spoke softly, almost in awe. They are teaching us. Not for war but for respect. We must remember this lesson. Yes, the Admiral said. And we must hope the galaxy listens. Pride blinds the strong, and patience empowers the underestimated. The humans began to withdraw. They left behind disabled ships, silent warnings, and the memory of their power. They did not celebrate victories with destruction or bloodshed. Instead, they demonstrated control, wisdom, and restraint, a lesson far more terrifying than firepower alone. As human fleets disappeared into the distance, Commander Ilara sent one final message. It appeared on every alien communication system across the galaxy. We waited. We returned. Never forget it again. The Grand Hall was silent. Alien commanders stared at the message, realizing that the galaxy's pride had been its own downfall. For centuries they had laughed at humans. For centuries they had ignored warnings. And now humans had returned, stronger than anyone had imagined, to remind the galaxy of their place. The old admiral turned to the younger commanders. This is a day the galaxy will remember. Pride without respect is weakness. Humanity has returned, not for conquest, but to awaken wisdom in a universe that forgot it. Commander Varric clenched his claws, still trembling. We underestimated them. We mocked them, and now, his voice trailed off, lost in shame. The young alien looked at the screens one last time. The galaxy has learned its lesson, he whispered. And humans will never be forgotten again. Outside the Empire's territory, the human ships vanished among the stars. Silent, invisible, and powerful. They had returned, struck fear into the hearts of empires, and reminded the galaxy that true strength lies not in pride or weapons, but in patience, unity, and resilience. The unexpected war was over, at least for now. But the lesson had been learned. The galaxy would never again underestimate humanity. And somewhere in the quiet of space, Commander Ilara smiled. Humanity had returned stronger. The galaxy would never forget.